much material do we want to give tracks here to choose for cold open? We got to, kind of vamp here a bit, don't we?
He'll find a spot.
Oh, Captain, I'm sexy. I'm gonna get you sorted.
Yeah, before he plays it though, you gotta say who we are, right?
No, I'm going to get to that. But I'm giving him some random material here to pick from.
But does
He's
anyone
not going to edit any of this out? You realize that, right?
Oh no.
Does anyone really know who they are? Like, how am I not myself?
Okay. Sorry I asked. Let's reel this in. Welcome, everyone, to another episode of the Loose Screws Podcast. I'm your host, Roy Cookson, and it is the 320th episode for the 26th of February, 2026.
3312.
Okay.
Fish.
This week, we got a lot going on. I am joined this week by a stellar cast. Is it maybe a galactic edition cast? Maybe.
Yeah, that works.
I'll take your credit card number.
We've got with us tonight.
We can't afford the galactic edition of this podcast.
Well, we can tonight, baby.
We got Commander Larkshade. Say hello.
Hello.
Commander Oblivious.
No ponies were given.
And Commander the Doxer, otherwise known as Adaxius.
Yeah. Lord Regent of Alexandrinus. You're welcome. Thank you very much.
And a special secret guest we will introduce a little later. It's been a very, very eventful week. A new ship, lots going on with the squadron. But first, let's check in with the crew. Lark, over to you. What have you been doing in real life?
I've been playing as much Elite as my brain will let me. Like, no
Closer
joke.
to the mic, Lark.
Oh, sorry. That better?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Apparently the foam I put on my mic is working. I may need to adjust that. I have been playing more Elite lately than I have in a long time. And like enough that I had to slow it down because it was getting emotionally taxing and I didn't want it to do that. But I've been having a blast and I don't regret it at all. And that has been my week. Literally, that's it.
Okay. All right. Might be a theme. Oblivious, over to you.
Well, real life, a couple of weeks ago, took me out of town unexpectedly for about 10 days in the midst of some of this really cool activity that we're going to talk about a little bit later. And I was having a serious case of FOMO while I was out in Savannah. And my son-in-law has this old Surface Pro they wasn't using. I said, what the hell? So I threw the game on that Surface. Nothing else on it. And I don't know what else he had on that Surface Pro. Just threw it on there and jumped on. Now, I'm on a very strange machine, low-powered machine. And for the first time, I'm doing mouse and keyboard with this game. I have not done that. Start. And my keyboard stuff on the left-hand side, thanks to a very pissed-off quarter horse many years ago, is troubling as it is, hitting the right keys at the right time. But I'm trying to take it on and do mouse and keyboard. And I am, with the exception of doing a bunch of jumping around blue trees a while back, doing my next foray into on foot. I really have done, up till then, hardly any measurable on foot. So mouse and keyboard, on foot, trying to figure it out at the same time.
Welcome to the track
story
side.
short, it took me quite a while to get efficient to the point where I had very little contribution because the majority of the time was teaching myself how to do this. But one interesting thing I came across, this laptop was so slow when I got on foot, dropping so many frames, such a low frame rate. I'm surprised it didn't trigger an epileptic fit. To give you an example of how slow it is, so you land and you go to deboard, and it goes to the graphic where the graphic goes to black, and then you show up on the ground. You're standing up under the ship. Well, on this Surface Pro, that took almost a minute and a half.
Oh, man. Welcome to the last laptop I owned.
But during that minute and a half, because I've never heard this before, you have footsteps.
Yes.
So the game is telling you you're moving through your ship. Okay, so I'm in my KrugerFive, and I'm walking around that thing for a minute and a half. I'm going, this is another reason why I do not want ship interiors.
Oh, get out of here.
Come on.
Get out of here.
Yeah.
Boo.
So, Max, what have you been doing?
Oh, shit. I didn't even log in this week. Yep. Just
okay, liar.
I feel a sudden disturbance in the force, as if everybody on the cast suddenly disagreed with you.
Doing not a lot. We're
gonna do a course on leadership,
guys. This whole week is the weeks like this are the reason I've been with Elite for 7 years.
Yeah,
we have everything we need to have a good fucking time. Like, I loved this week and everything about it. And we'll talk about it more when we get there. I just love it. So I am riding high. We pulled off something amazing this week. And I have rarely been prouder of such a ragtag bunch of miscreants as the Loose Screws Squadron. So yeah, that was legit. That was most of my week. Oh, back to you, Roy. You're the only one.
Yeah, for now.
How was yours?
I sacrificed pretty much everything else I was doing in real life for in-game pursuits this week, including at times bathing and eating.
Yes. Who needs those?
Who needs those? In game, I bought the Kestrel, which we'll talk about later. I also, in a fit of optimization, bought the Caspian and pressed them both into service, helping out the squadron with its efforts, which we'll talk about in a bit. So, with that, why don't we jump straight into the squadron briefing?
Incoming priority message.
Squadron briefing.
Well, okay, boys and girls, again, if you're interested in BGS, there is still some BGSing to be had. So currently, Screw Space looks like 397 systems in total, of which we control 118.
Dang.
Let's see. Now, interesting states. We've got the state of boom going on in 7A, 7 Andromae, and Qama. Took a look at both of those today. 7A does not have a megaship present, but Qama does. I did go visit that megaship, and it's not delivering megaship scenarios, unfortunately. Maybe I'll try it again tomorrow and see if it kicks in or not. Typically, states in boom with a system in boom with megaships will give you megaship scenarios, which is a great place to collect bounties to use in your BGS activity. But unfortunately, Qama is not doing that right now. Ross successfully, all by itself, completed its Ross 310 completed its expansion. If you want to test your new Kestrels out in some BGS conflicts, you got 2 systems where you have that opportunity. NLTT 52560 is one. And in the system of BD plus 44, 4389, there's a conflict between us and After Dark Initiative. If you want a war in that system, don't fight for the screws. Fight for ADI. That's a conflict that kicked off on its own inadvertently, and we want ADI to stay in control of that system. Thank you very much. Now, there's still some systems that could use a little love. And by that, in BGS terms, that's doing missions that deliver influence. Miola, Medzisti, I can't say that. Anyway, look on the chart and you'll see where it is, what it is. But one of them is this weird little system called Alexandrinus. We're wanting to bump up influence there, but today 2 more faction wars in the sub-factions kicked in, so that's locking up all the influence, so really can't do anything about it there. Anyway, I wonder if there's something that's been going on in that system. Maybe we'll find out later. So, Roy, that's it for the squad report.
All right. Well, why don't we slide right into a special session of the short PP report.
This is the short PP report.
Target shields offline. Target destroyed.
It's average, so get your facts straight.
Daxi, you're up.
I'm going to open with Shakespeare.
All right.
Here we go.
So, go right ahead.
I didn't know he had a silent speech.
For in times of peace, there is nothing more fitting as modest stillness and tranquility. But when the drums of war sound in our ears, then let us stiffen up the sinews, summon up the blood, trade good nature for hard-favored rage. Ladies and gentlemen, you are in the presence of the new administrators, benevolent overlords of the star system, Alexandrinus. Applause, please. Thank you very much. Yes, I'm taking a bow.
Hear, hear.
We're all taking a bow. We, ladies and gentlemen, if you do not know, saw, in my opinion, our greatest conquest as a squadron since the Thargoid War. Since Operation Oops All Gold, all of us pulled together, facing down the barrel of Jerome Archer, the prime big baddie in the Elite Dangerous Galaxy. He sent his best, and we sent them packing. We really we took this system in a way that is it's going to go down in the legends. They will sing songs of this, and when we're long gone,
the annals
speak
even
of the war in Alexandrinus in the annals of Loose Screws history. And it was not neck and neck. If you remember Operation Oops All Gold, we won by the value of a single Cyclops with a credit tally of over $1 billion. We did pretty well in this conflict. And remember, for the scope of power play, we are past the silly days of one-ton trading. We've had conflicts in the bubble that saw like 2 million plus total control points on all sides involved. I think 3 million at one point. It's just absurd. Thankfully, those days are long gone. Frontier's done a pretty good job keeping up with exploits. And I feel now the system's like, it's pretty even. I mean, there's some things you can do that are a little chintzy, but you basically have to put up or shut up now. And in our little corner of the bubble, we saw 1 million plus control points. I think 1.5 million for this system in our second push to take it. And by God, when you open that galaxy map and you scroll over to Loose Screw space, Alexandrinus has a little green triangle. Little Corpo Daddy's putting his little stamp on that. Thank you very much.
I'm already measuring for the golf course.
It is, I cannot tell you, I had this sense when Power Play came out. I was just like this is comprehensive. It allows for all gameplay styles. I just had this feeling of like, this is it. This is kind of the mortar between the bricks. And the way that this conflict played out is exactly that. There was strategy, there was last minute planning, there was concerted effort, there was a Jesus Christ, there was a spreadsheet. And to quote a movie that I have seen way too many times, My Big Fat Greek Wedding, doesn't get quoted often. Strap in for this one.
I love that movie.
You'll see, the man is the head, but the woman is the neck. And she can turn the head any way she wants. So I would now like to introduce the neck. If Alexandrinus was my idea and I am the head, I would like to introduce the neck, which is our beloved spreadsheet manager, KrugerFive. Kruger, are you there?
Wow, hello.
Hey!
What an intro.
Hey.
Kruger's wondering whether he
Thank you
should
for
announce
having
his
me.
pronouns now.
Kruger, I found a tire and I just rolled it down the hill. Kruger, you set up the track that tire could get to the bottom. I just introduce yourself and just talk about how we managed this.
Hey, well, oh man, thanks for having me on. Yeah, well, Alexandrinus, right? Like,
Right?
I mean, well, how we got here was spite, number one.
Yes. Yes, it was.
Because I put a lot of control points into that first battle, and that came after a lot of I put a lot of work into NLTT 2969. I put a lot of work into Bumber back in the background, and this was back. I'd listened to the podcast for a long time, and sat in Discord and was kind of there, but power play just got me pulled in a lot more. So when I saw you all out there, and never really got into the fight with you at Bumber, but I was there. One-tonning the hell.
Oh God, battle for Bumber.
And I know, I was doing my thing. This wasn't on the loose screws books, but I was doing my part in the background there. Same with NLTT. I put a lot of effort into NLTT, but like I said, we're talking about pre 1-ton training. Those were my old days. I was doing some 1-ton training there just to be on the up and up.
I don't think bans are retroactive, so I think you're safe to say that we've passed the statute of limitations.
But Alexandrinus was special because that was okay. Timing wise, I'm here. I can meet. I got into voice chats with you guys. I was there. Whoa. And I was doing it without exploits. I was I was trading. I was bringing rares, trying to fight. So when we got beat last minute on that, it hurt. It hurt.
Yeah.
And it wasn't they didn't put in the effort either, because holy how did they come back?
That was a dark.
Yeah, they did.
That was a dark day.
Did. That was.
Yeah.
So since that time, and it's been months upon months upon months, right?
Yeah.
Since that time, I've been playing, I've been doing other things, but it's been a little thorn in my back, and and we've tried, there's been a few things here and there, let's make attempts here, but undermining it's a challenge, right? And so. Yeah. So we went and I can't remember what it was, but something a few weeks back people were kind of visiting Alexandrinus for power play. And it's let me go back and just kind of take a look around. And it's one of the things I really like to do in power play is go into a system, kind of scout it out, what is the most optimal method of trying to do, whether you're trying to acquire, reinforce, undermine in this case, et cetera. What's the right route? So I went in and started looking around, scouting things out, looking at options, and I was looking through and I found something, and okay, no, it's that can't be. That can't be right. So looked around more, and I did a thorough scout job of it, and this stood out. I had an idea and it stood out. So I put it through a couple paces and okay, this is working good. And at the same time, in the channels, there was some talk, and I can't remember, it might have been you, Audaxius, but it was because someone come up hey, are we cooked? Are we cooked here at Alexandrinus?
I think it was
definitely
me and Daxi and a little bit of Oblivious. I was bouncing that back and forth.
I was just like, do I regret this?
And the timing was great because it was like at the exact same time, and it was like, guys, wait, I have an idea.
Yeah.
But I wasn't too sure. And it's one like, covert operations, and especially with like, undermining is ripe for some covert operations. You don't necessarily want to give away your means and methods on these kind of things. So I reached out to Oblivious on DM to kind of like just put the word out there, like, hey, here is this idea. What do you think? Is this something, is this something that's interesting? Do you think we can do it? I think we have a shot with this.
Mm-hmm. And we had just enough hands on deck to call into it. Like that's the thing for me is we had some standout commanders with this plan and with this war, and the top 10 list in your leaderboard is testament to that. We have 4 of the 10 top 10 spots. Like we've never had
many.
I don't know if we've ever had Loose Screw's names on that board.
Holy crap!
By hell did we this week?
Well, not to toot my own horn, but I was up number 4 NLTT 2969 time.
Well, I got my little message in the inbox. I was 51st among all of Leon Rui's operatives.
Nice.
I got a message that I was in the top 75%, which I have never been close to before.
Yep. Yeah, I am looking at 4 Loose Screws in the top 10, and by golly, my heart's never been warmed more by you scrappy vagabonds. Yeah, we took every avenue available to us, and we could run power goods, we could do conflict, we did, of course, and Loose Screws. Disclaimer: we're always in open. Like that's part of the name of the game. I don't want to engage in this gameplay without the opportunity of someone stopping me.
100.
We had so much PvP, we ended up on Inara's threat list. Alexandrinus was up there with Desiat, Shinrada, and Sol.
I believe the highest it peaked on that list was number 3, and then it started to slide down after that.
And it wasn't just Archer commanders. We had other people looking for PvP come in. I got smoked by a Delane guy. We saw wings of 3 and 4 Archer commanders flying around. I mean, we took it on head on. And it really came down to, I mean, a couple hours beforehand, the Council of War. What are we doing? What are we going to do? Is this going to happen? And it all came through. And now we don't know what to do with ourselves.
I'm still honestly in shock.
So Larky, are you familiar with the football phrase that a lot of football coaches use is don't give the other team any bulletin board material?
Yup.
You ever heard that phrase?
We gave Archer something to talk about. That's
we're going to have to
the thing I worry about.
Timestamp your opening to this because I'm pretty sure it's going up on all their bulletin boards. So we better watch out.
And by golly, I had this sense after there were a handful of wars that played out, and then we looked at how things went in the Enclave, and I kind of had this sense of is power play always going to be this predetermined thing? It's always either Archer or Ashling, just whoever whatever power happens to have the most numbers. After this war, I'm like, by golly, if you put yourself to it and you get a group of guys together, you can make shit happen. You can have a chance, and I'm so happy with how this week went. I loved it. And there is and now we've got to pivot. I mean, undermining and taking a system and holding a system. I love. It's a totally different game, right? You're you have the advantage when you're undermining, I mean, with the numbers. And now we've got to pivot and we've got to find a way representing Corpo Daddy Lee Young Ree to hold the system. So I love how dynamic I is, and I love that, you know, you're this is not a static system. I mean, week to week, your whole strategy can pivot. And oh my God, I never ever thought, like, I'm always a guy who's like, well, play how you feel, and I don't give a shit about, let's just do whatever. But that spreadsheet, Jesus Christ. We had a spreadsheet with numbers on it, and I was like, this is actually useful.
Oh, sorry. Let me shove my glasses really up my nose and take a look. Yeah, I like those numbers.
Yeah, it was so. I was so thankful for it. I'm like, I'm so glad smarter people in the room than me are here, because they're the ones that actually get things done.
One of my favorite moments and achievements out of this was getting Chig and Trax both to fill out a spreadsheet.
Nice. Yeah.
Oh man,
that was good.
Yeah.
You know, you touched on it lightly there for a minute. That was one of the things I did not expect to see. And I guess maybe it's the new trend, but yeah, okay, so we've got a power conflict, and you're right. We had some folks showing up in systems, pulling people or dropping into the various conflicts from other powers. So they clearly weren't associated with Archer or us. They were there looking for PvP engagement.
Yeah.
Which, I thought a pretty cool dynamic.
I heard quite called the PvP sharks at one point.
Sharks, yeah. And, you know, most of them were in wings. It wasn't a single. I think that I did meet up one. I think it was a Delaney. I did meet up one Delaney in a CZ. He was by himself. Maybe that's because his wingmate had bugged out. But yeah, most of the time they were in wings. So I guess that's a thing now.
I mean, valid strategy, right? Like, to me, in the spirit the game is intended, you're in open. If you're doing PvP, that's a lot of time. Otherwise, you could be crunching merits. But to me, that's the name of the game, right? Like, your valid strategy could just be delaying someone from earning merits otherwise with trying to take them on. So,
and to be fair to the Delane folks, most of them are pretty awesome people anyway, so I'll hang out with the pirates any day.
They're equal opportunity harassers. They were 100% just as much as us. So we've got, you know, there's a someday in the future that we've got our loose screw space, really cohesive bridge to Liang Ru space, and we've kind of shoved this kind of lobe of Archer that sticks out into our space. That's just gone. But we're going to look back and we're going to know that Alexandrinus, I think, was the real first like cornerstone of this whole campaign.
Archer lobe sounds gross.
Oh God. Let's move on from that.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you're an aspiring squadron out there or an aspiring power player, you got to get yourself a KrugerFive. Now, he's already ours, so don't go knocking down his door. But you got to get someone who's tracking some numbers, because that's how you really get a plan moving.
AKA, you need the player that used to play EVE Online obsessively is what you need.
Oh, I've heard. Yes, don't people call that a spreadsheet simulator?
I speak from experience.
Well, that's elite now, baby. When you're moving, when you're moving almost 1 million control points, you've got to have an accountant.
I dodged that bullet of EVE Online somehow, but I don't know why, because it sounds just right up my alley.
Yeah, we'll keep it in elite for now.
Don't do it. It's a trap.
Yeah, it's a trap. So yeah, this is weeks like this are everything that I hoped the power play system would become, and it can. So I love it.
Yeah, you know, man, the greatest thing was like seeing everybody. Like, the spreadsheet was great, but just seeing how many people from the squad were coming out, filling it out, and watching their numbers rack up. Man, like, You know, it was like, but first few days where it was like kind of just starting out, like I was like, oh man, like there's a good number of people helping, and it was fun. But it's like, man, it's going to take a while. But then all of a sudden, like, bam, another line, and like people putting even bigger numbers in, and it was so much. Such a great time with everybody.
Yep. Famous quote from Firefly: "We have done the impossible, and that makes us mighty." So we did it. Loose screws. We get to take about 3 seconds of vacation and then get right back to reinforcing.
So Dax, why don't you, go ahead, Roy.
I was going to say, since we're graced with the presence of KrugerFive, I'm wondering if he could read his own report for us of the power play update instead of us, having to plagiarize it.
Oh yeah. Are you guys ready?
Let's go. Yes. Let's go.
Oh.
All right. Well, welcome everybody to the end of cycle 69.
Nice.
Well, first up.
Nice.
First up, Kane. Kane had a massive week at the top spot. 18 new systems with 2 new forts and a new stronghold. Continuing to be post 1 ton, one of the dominant forces of the powers. Also, though, this has kind of been a strong week for a few names you don't see very often. Winter showed up this week. Not a lot of systems gained there, but added 2 new forts and 2 strongholds in the process. And Ontal also with 2 new strongholds. So when you're looking at the KrugerFive rankings or the NICE rankings, like those were the top ones. Which, being the top 3, you don't normally, you're used to hearing Aisling, Li Yong Rui, Prince or Emperor Orisa, etc. But things have really been shaken up after 1 ton. But over at the FDEV board where they just count the number of systems, Aisling did have a good week there with 10 new systems. Just most of them were picking up new exploits, so not a lot, not too hard to pick those up. Okay, now this line, I'm gonna try to deliver this as unbiased and with as much. as much journalistic integrity as I can here. Archer, after back-to-back top weeks of big gains, drops to last place with no systems gained.
Ooh. Dang. Wonder why. Well, our hearts go out to Jerome Archer. We wish you all the best luck.
Down in the basement with the perennially troubled Petraeus.
Oof.
That's a mouthful.
Yep. that was a tough one.
At this point, I honestly
that is
think
the power play report.
Sorry to interrupt. At this point, I honestly think the Imperial powers are actually running an experiment to try and push Denton Petraeus down to the point that he basically is removed and is irrelevant even more than he already is. And I'm wondering if that's why we saw him go from something to basically nothing in the rise of Torval at the same time.
Well, as far as the list goes, that's him and Archer hanging out. So I hope they enjoy each other's company at the bottom.
Right.
Yeah, Petraeus is like, you look at the charts of it, it is just a flat line at the bottom. I don't know if it's internal. I've heard rumors that there's a certain power that makes it a point to just make it Petraeus's bad day as much as they can. Won't name names, but I've heard rumors.
That sounds like Orisa.
one of 12.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, guys, one for the record books.
Absolutely.
Yes. Yeah.
Well, Daxie, Kruger, thank you both for that. And Kruger, you're obviously welcome to continue here in the pod with us, and please participate in the discussions we're about to have. We want to hear your input, not just on the power play, but on some very other exciting things. We're going to change up the order here a little bit because of the event horizon that a Kestrel discussion will be. So we're going to start out right now with Galnet news from Lark.
Alrighty, so we had one Galnet news update that I'm sure everyone is aware of because you either were blowing people up with this ship or got blown up by this ship, one of the two, and that is the Kestrel Fighter. It is as if, or let me just get down that, and then I'll get into my own thoughts later. Core Dynamics has announced the limited release of the Kestrel, a new small combat chip engineered exclusively for high-intensity engagement. You're peeking a little bit, Daxy, but thank you. And blah, blah, blah. It's a fantastic little fighter.
We'll be covering that in depth in our discussion, so just maybe jump to the,
The big thing is a community goal opened up because Core Dynamics wants to test this ship in engagements, specifically in power engagements that have popped up all over the place. And they've set the contributions at 1 trillion credits with a T.
Whoa.
And they are at 47.8%.
Already.
Wow.
Sorry, FD, you need some more zeros after that.
I can't wait for their first quadrillion CG.
I know, right? Because this is supposed to last a week, and at this rate, it'll be over by Saturday.
We'll do it.
I thought it was 2 weeks. Is it a week?
1 week, 4 days, 12 hours. So
a
week and a little bit.
Yeah.
It's on track, though. Be careful, though. It's on track to end early right now, unless FDev bumps the levels up. So
I bet they bump it.
They could put any number they want. We're just going to crank it out.
All right. Anything else, Lark, on that?
They gave us all auto shotguns and then put the goal too low, and they're going to be surprised when we hit it.
Yeah.
There it is.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. Well, there was, accompanying the unveiling of the Kestrel, there was also some pretty significant dev notes. And I'm going to touch on some of these before we jump into the other discussion on the Kestrel. The main one being the on-foot combat audio rebalance. So if you haven't been on foot in the last week, you might want to try it out. The audio has been extensively reworked, mainly to improve situational awareness during combat. So things like gunfire carries further, gives better feedback, enemy fire is easier to pinpoint, explosions stand out more. Even when you're hit or grazed, surrounding gunfire briefly adjusts to improve threat identification. And then there's a series of more specific updates to particular weapons, the Manticore Executioner, the Intimidator, Qama AR-50 and Qama P-15, and grenades. Lots to explore there. And I think even these descriptions don't quite do it justice. You just have to kind of experience it. A lot of interesting work there. Have any of you? Is there any standout changes you think from these audio changes? Anyone?
I don't know how to put words to it. I noticed it first with the audio of the magnetic boots in the station. I'm sure audio engineers know exactly how this is accomplished. It just sounds more three-dimensional, and I can't describe it any better than that. It's not just that it's louder. It's like the perception of the sound gave it more position in space. I don't know how you accomplish that with just a left speaker and a right speaker because I play on headphones all the time, but it's very obvious in a way that's as specific as it gets.
Somewhere right now, Trax is yelling the terms at his speakers.
Yeah. you gotta separate the peaks, and then you gotta twist the little he's got some words for
and
it.
There was something about a dry tail.
Yeah,
dry tail.
Yeah. Audio has always been the game's strong suit, so they threw the audio team a bone and had them crank it up again. So it's just, it bodes well because something like Operations could have just dropped purely with gameplay, but they're setting up all these blocks and getting their ducks in a row, months in advance. So I'm glad to see it.
I have a feeling we're going to get slapped in the face with how hard Operations are, and I can't wait.
I hope so.
That'd be cool. I haven't tried all these weapons that they've updated the audio with, but I'm eager to. One of the things that I remember from Destiny was a lot of the feeling of the gunplay actually I think came from the audio design. So looking forward to trying these out to see if it's more visceral or if it even catches some of the magic that the Destiny managed.
If you
What I
haven't yet,
experienced with it was, and it was nice the way it came about because I'd forgotten about they had made some of the audio changes. So it was good in-game discovery at an outpost in a particular room, and a particular set of footsteps became more noticeable to me. I've heard footsteps before, but this was more noticeable, and it sounded like, Jesus, this is some huge Frankenstein guy running right at me. What the heck? And then one of our commanders pops around the corner. It had but it was a very unique sound coming in, and it took me by surprise. The other was, I'm running around the outpost, and I'm noticing I'm hearing the breathing a lot more than I did before. And God, my commander is out of shape.
So was mine.
Well, maybe
we
the
got to get you. You got to
Radicoid
get you your extra endurance engineering here.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Where's the dad bod body type?
Yeah.
Where's that?
If you all
Kruger,
haven't yet,
go ahead. Yeah.
I gotta definitely go check out Burr's video. He did a really good, concise, as he always does, video of some of the audio changes and runs through a lot of the different weapons to see what they sound like now.
Oh, good.
Like you get it's a good overview to see like how different they sound. And let me tell you that the AR-50 sounds pretty good.
All right. Looking forward to that. They also announced some issue tracker and bug fixes. I'm not going to read all these, but a few that stuck out to me, mainly because these look like things that have been talked about on and off for a while, and they just sort of randomly got fixed. One was, and this has happened to me, and I think it's happened to a couple other people in our Discord, where you end up getting a permit for the starter zone and we didn't really know why.
That happened to me.
Yeah, it happened to me, and you could go to the starter zone, but as soon as you docked anywhere, it went away. So they resolved the issue where what it was, and now I remember, because this was true. I had just done some CQC,
same thing,
and it was connected to that, and I gained a rank in CQC, and then there it is. So they fixed that, so you can't get that permit anymore by ranking up in CQC.
It's like, you ranked up, you're better at killing people. Now go to the starter zone.
Yeah. The reward for proving you can kill someone is letting you club seals.
Yeah. And then the next one was, I even asked about this one a few days ago, because we were talking about which SLFs work best with certain, with your NPC crew member. And it came up that, is it still a thing where you can get stuck just before the rank before elite? And I guess it was, because they say they've resolved it. So now your crew member shouldn't have any trouble ranking up.
Oh, good.
I don't know if that was related to. I had heard that there was also an issue with fixed weapons for elite NPC crew members. I don't know if that's related to this or not. I hope if it was that it also got fixed, but I guess we'll see, because that was one I was concerned about as well. And then last. One that maybe, I don't know, I don't want to throw any shade at any of our enemies, but they've resolved an issue where power play commodities could have been stored in a squadron bank. So,
Yep.
I guess if that was a concern,
I wonder,
it will be no longer.
Someone was sitting on a bomb they were planning on using and suddenly couldn't use it. That could have, that might have hurt some folks.
Oh, the bomb fizzled maybe.
I wonder. They didn't keep someone got the fuse wet.
Wow.
I did see a squad carrier.
Yep. And it ain't there no more.
Feels bad, man.
Okay.
Oh, Lord.
So then, of course, they released the Kestrel Mark II, and its big party tricks are the Mark II Agile Boost Thrusters that route your boost into thrusters, much more than just straightforward boost, and then also the Mark II Plasma Shock Accelerator. So I'd like to go around the horn here and weigh in, before we get into some more meaty discussion about what this might import. just your thoughts, those of you that have flown the Kestrel, what you think about it. There's been a lot of conversation about power creep and other things, and I know there's been people already trying out different designs and such. We're not going to necessarily go into the engineering of it or particular designs per se. We'll save that for a future episode, but maybe more just the subjective feeling that you have having flown it. Those of you that have, who'd like to go first?
I shall.
Okay.
It is like an Imperial courier and an eagle had a baby, and then that baby was raised by a vulture. This thing is a terror of a small ship. It hits like the vulture. It's fast. It has a good shield like the courier, and it's as agile as an eagle. It's more agile than an eagle. And good crap, that's saying something. Because I used to fly an eagle shieldless because it's so agile, you can just not get hit. So this thing, I love it. I love it so dang much. I just put a bunch of cargo stuff on it for reinforcing because I don't want to not fly it.
All right. Anybody else had a chance to fly it?
Dead game, uninstall. Jeez. Yeah, I did jump into it. The only thing I engineered was the thrusters. That was it. Everything else was stock. Took it out to power play conflict zone and just went, oh my God, this is going to be wild. This is going to be fun. And just you throw that thruster stick to the right and hit boost, and oh wow, I just turned to the right. It's going to open up a whole new level of gameplay. I think it might be would it be as impactful as SCO? I don't know, but it is. I think it is definitely a game changer.
How did you?
It's going to come to combat.
When you tried it out in combat, how did you find it in terms of, like, I guess maybe for our listeners, how would you rate yourself as a combat pilot, just generally?
Generally, I would rate myself a 6 or 7 out of 10, where 10 is like Chig and Trax and like those insanely good pilots, right? I generally consider myself in the middle, but like the above part of the middle. And this thing is so dang agile. I'm considering putting clean drives on it just because it gives me more control that way.
Okay, so out of the box, it felt a little bit beyond
out of the box. It feels like I went from a Cessna 182 to a freaking F-22, and I have no idea what I'm doing, and I love it.
How about you, Blivius? How would you rate yourself on the same scale and your experience?
I put it in two categories. I mean, if you're PVE, I rate myself up there pretty high. As far as NPCs, pilots are concerned. And one of the things that I've really enjoyed of late is getting out of the Corvette and getting into the KrugerFive and going at it with fixed weapons. That is what I'm looking forward to trying to do with this thing. Although it's just so agile, fixed weapons may not be the sweet spot for this. It may be that you're going to have to do something with a little bit of tracking on this thing. But the short time that I was in it, that conflict did have an Anaconda in it, and just my ability to just keep flipping around the back and just staying on the rear end of that thing was easier than it is in the Cobra, but I was having to do it with FA on. With FA off, oh my God! I was like I just started doing FA off all over again. It was that was crazy. So
I'm curious. Would either of you say that this thing has out of the box, and with your without having had a lot of time to build up muscle memory around it, are its advantages initially maybe more defensive than offensive?
defensive.
Like
I
you can
would
stay away
say
from shots versus
kinda.
Oh
landing
yeah,
shots.
you can play defense. Okay, I get you. Yeah, as far as being
Yeah.
able to staying out of somebody, keeping somebody from laying hits on you. Yeah, it it's almost you feel like you could just be sitting right in somebody's nose, and if whatever they're shooting at you doesn't have some serious velocity on it, you could just juke out of the way when you see it coming at you. Yeah, I think it does have that kind of capability.
During
you
a
agree with that,
power
Lark?
CZ, I was in with this thing. And bear in mind, it's like barely engineered. I just did what I could and got back to what we were doing, right?
Yeah.
And this is in a power CZ where all the other NPC ships are engineered and they're harder. This was an elite level Diamondback scout I was fighting, and I hit the boost by accident and literally flew a circle around it, still pointing at it, and ended up where I started.
Wow.
Around a freaking DBS.
The other thing I noticed with this, so yeah, very short time in combat. The rest of the time I used it was going back and forth and landing on some planets and for other things that was going on. It was well suited for that. But as far as going back and landing on the carrier or landing on a platform, what have you, and or if I already said it, landing on a planet, this thing, you kind of get close to the platform and it's like it's got magnets on its.
Yep.
It just sticks, and you don't really have to think about it.
It does
Yep,
combat
I noticed the same
landings
thing.
really well. Just slams it down. It's like, good enough.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, for what it's worth, I was engrossed in another activity, I'll say, that was more about hauling, and so I wanted to experience the Kestrel, but still do the thing I needed to do. So I took everything off of it, filled it with cargo racks, including a pre-engineered Class 5, and it just happened to have 81 tons, which was 1 ton more than the supply of something that I desperately needed to transport. So, but yeah, I noticed the landing pad performance was pretty wild. It felt like I was 3 or 4 meters above the pad, and suddenly I was landed. So, but to this point about the twitchiness of it, its agility, and how that plays with the muscle memory we've built up to whatever degree in combat. This made me think a lot about a game design strategy. And so I guess the question I was thinking about here was, is this design of ship, I wonder if this is the first hint of a new design playbook from Frontier. And what do I mean by that? So there's a game design concept in some games where upgrading could be a weapon, a ship, a car, a vehicle, something. When you upgrade, your gear gets stronger, but also easier, meaning it has better stats and better quality of life. Say, if it's a gun, it might be faster handling or less recoil or less sway. It's more comfortable, more forgiving. And while that can be a lot of fun, it can also flatten the skill curve because the best item or the meta becomes the best item for everyone. Now, in contrast to that, there's another design pattern that I really like in games, and that's when a power bump comes with what's called an execution cost. So this is kind of going back to some thoughts I've had around Frontier developments is picking from the buffet of MMO and FPS concepts as they come out with the new features in this game, or they come out with new weapons or new ships. So what's an execution cost? That's when the item is stronger, but it's also harder to use. It's you guys seen The Mandalorian, I assume?
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Do you remember the Darksaber?
Mm-hmm.
So what was the deal with the Darksaber? Anyone? How is it different from a regular lightsaber? Besides the fact that it was dark.
I don't remember.
What
Did it get
happened
heavier?
Yes. What happened when Mando tried to use it?
He wasn't worthy. Oh no, sorry,
Kind
that's
of.
wrong franchise. Sorry.
Actually, that's not far from the truth. the deal was with that weapon is it almost fights you, and the user has to build up a mental connection to it or an affinity for it, which is kind of like building up a skill. So in design terms, it's when you have a high skill floor and a high ceiling, as opposed to just a high ceiling. You raise the floor as well. And so if you can't pay the quote unquote execution tax for using the weapon, you don't get the payoff. But if you can, it can feel incredible, right?
The game designer's given you the potential of utility.
And put a gate on getting to it.
Yeah.
So the question isn't, is this or that ship overpowered? The question would be, is Frontier leaning into, let's say, mastery-gated power as a way to evolve Elite without pure power creep? Because that's a very MMO-ish kind of balancing move. You can add aspirational tools, weapons, things, but you keep them from being every person's go-to by making mastery part of the cost.
God,
so
I hope that's it.
I hope
that's the first question is, do you think this could be it? How does that, does any of that resonate with anybody?
Well, it resonates with me because the best example of flight I ever saw in this game is a guy, years ago, his commander name slips my mind now, but that's all he did. And this is pre-Odyssey, so it was all those weird landscapes and low flying over really rough terrain and really fine level of control. And in this little kind of exhibition, that was it, Sanderling, yeah. So exhibition he's doing, he said the best and most overlooked game loop in Elite Dangerous is the flight model itself. Very few people take the time to learn that game loop, which also has the most depth. And I really, really hope they lean on that, because we're in the MMO zone, but on the fringe in that, like we've got the mechanics involved in this are incredibly in depth. It can come down to the device you use, whether mouse and keyboard or a HOTAS or like a Neanderthal like me with a Xbox controller. There's a threshold that you have to get through. I think they've kept this in mind, because I remember watching the Thargoid War play out and being worried about like things like them just introducing new mechanics, new modules, things just to get better and better and better. And I remember one thing of that stood out to me that they introduced, but it wasn't an indication of this. It's easier. Not only is it more powerful, but also easy. I don't know if you guys remember the AX multi-cannons that at some point we got an upgrade.
Yes, I do remember that.
So they didn't announce this, but I tested this. Turrets have the most sway, right? That's part of the balance of them is they can't really hit from far away because the reticle wanders, right? I remember seeing those and being like, these things are like laser beams. Like you can hit a scout from like 2.5 kilometers. I tested it out. The sway on those multi-cannons is probably less than half of a standard turret. Now, the reason they did that, I think, is because they realized, oh, scouts are small and this is going to be useless if we don't like change that. It wasn't an announced change, but I was like, oh, this is much powerful and it's easier and more like effective. So I had a moment of like, ugh, like I hope this isn't the trajectory of things that it's just going to become that. But I haven't seen another example of that yet. And, the Enclave, God knows what module that was, because that plan will
I think an example of, I guess I'd call it reverse execution cost was what happened towards the end of the Thargoid War. Like initially you had to go into the corrosive cloud and literally mine those, whatever those things were, the mines or the beacons or whatever, to get the bits and then as
mines,
and which I really looked forward to, because it pushed ship design, strategy, just a different kind of. It was almost like exploration in a way that kind of scratched that itch a bit. Exploration plus ship design, but then as we got closer to the end of the war, they started removing the gate, if you will, on a bunch of things, and literally just giving them away. And that I'm guessing that was so they could encourage mass participation, because they saw maybe the engagement wasn't high enough. But it was it felt like a loss to me, and I couldn't quite put a finger on it. And I think that's what this was. Is there was fun in having that struggle to get to that accomplishment, right? So I guess another question would be, what in this game makes something hard but fair versus annoying and disillusioning? Like what feedback loops or tells or learning signals have to exist so it feels attainable and not just random?
Goid fighting.
Okay. Say more.
Well, it's not immediately obtainable to anyone out there. You've got to reach the skills plateau of understanding how to orbit and understand the various phases that fighting a particular Thargoid goes through. So you've got to develop a high level of skills in order to achieve similar to especially to achieve a goal like Scotty did that we'll talk about in the community corner later on. So
how did each of you learn those skills about Thargoids?
Oh, I went about it the hard, dumb way, which was assume you can face tank an interceptor's main cannon.
Same.
And after beating a Cyclops, taking like 40 minutes to beat a Cyclops with 3% hull left, I was like, okay, this isn't working. So it was watching other people. That was really what honed my skills with flight assist off, was realizing this is on you, right? Like, the interceptor's hard limits, the risks, and it's on you to figure that out. So watching people do it, but also the carrot at the end of the stick there was, and all the repetition was, you felt like you got better. I almost feel that the flight model, I don't want this to sound naive, but like, they're not changing the flight model. Flight model is static. It's wonderful. So it almost provides a buffer that, like, regardless of how power creep goes, that you have to be able to point and steer the ship. So maybe it's a natural consequence, like with a ship like the Kestrel, that like, we're going to give you this maneuverability. Like, we're going to give you the enhanced thrusters. We're not giving you enhanced brakes. Like, this boost, right?
I love
like
that.
this, we're giving you the power, but we're not putting a leash on it. And the flight model gives us a kind of neutral level that anything they introduce on, you still have, right? Like, you're still holding the flight sticks. So I think they've done a good enough job giving us a flight model in a space game with 6 degrees of freedom and movement and everything, that like, you have to be able to point the ship, point the gun. They didn't give us gimbaled shock cannons, right? So I think they have to have considered that in the overall design. I don't know if an introduction of a ship like this so much makes me worry as think like, hey, it seems like they've got their fingers on the pulse of this somewhere.
Well, I did hear that the Thargoids were upset. They think the Kestrel is a clear sign of power creep, and they're writing an open letter to FDev.
Well, here's the thought: is
it's like, man, they're pissed.
When you did learn how to manage a fight with the Thargoids, I mean, if I think about my experience, it came from, and maybe this just seems patently obvious to everybody in here, but just to say it, it was when I went with other people who knew what they were doing, including the Loose Screws squadron, right? There's some experts in there. And I found, well, I'll ask this of you. What did you think when you went, because I think most of you, if not all of you, have some pretty good skill with this now. What do you think about this? Was it actually as difficult as you thought?
The Kestrel or the thing we were working towards?
The Thargoids.
Oh yeah, that for me, absolutely they were, because I'm captain. I'm going to fly the ship I want to fly. I don't care what everyone else is flying.
So you got self-imposed.
Mark, you are not a good example. It's self-inflicted.
It is, but I still beat a Cyclops for the first time in a Viper Mark IV, and I'm proud of that.
Hell.
Yeah. What about the rest of you? What do you think?
It's as hard even now doing it and learning from everyone else how to do it well. It's as hard as I thought it was going to be, but there's enough depth in the mechanics of the game that like I can tell like this is my skill that got me here. I mean, taking on a Hydra, to me at my skill level, I wouldn't attempt it solo. That's something that I enjoy more as group content, but it's as difficult now as day one. I've just kind of risen to the challenge. I think like the depth is there. It's totally different than something like On-Foot Combat.
So would you say you're proud of yourself for that?
Oh yeah. Like I'm that's not something I could have learned on my own. I think maybe a testament to the depth that the game can have is that they couldn't make a tutorial to teach you that. That's something that takes repetition and observation. And they've also provided us the tools that we can do that. So I think it's a very almost like a human learning process. And again, a testament to the depth the game provides because it lets us have that field to exercise our skill in.
It's also a testament to the masters of flight who are willing to teach us over here at the Loose Screws.
That's true. That's true. Having a supportive community. Why do you think more people don't fly FA off?
I can answer this because I'm one of those people. It's hard, man. Sometimes I just want to come home and fly my stupid spaceship. I don't want to have to think about angular momentum and did I break enough and why is that wall getting so close and oops, my shields.
Livius, do you ever do FA off?
Oh yeah, I'm trying to do it most of the time now. I attempted to do, what I've heard some folks whose piloting skills I'm very envious of just go cut off, just go cold turkey and go at it. Don't do anything else. I attempted to do that. The problem that I faced when I was attempting to do that is there were other activities that I wanted to contribute to, and I couldn't contribute at the level that I wanted. So I did kind of back off a bit of it and would mix. So if I was in a situation where I'm not after, and I'm a very goal-oriented person, timeline-oriented person, if I'm not after one of those goals, I'm going to go do FA off in all those gaps and then continue to improve on it. And that's what I've noticed that over time, the number of times I've bailed out of FA off to go to FA on to try to accomplish something, those are becoming lesser and lesser and lesser in frequency as I continue to gain skills on it.
Dax, but here's fly FA off?
I fly about 80% FA off, and I really, for combat, I really still like large ships, and I get that makes me a bit of a knuckle dragger. But the flight assist as an accent to braking and turning is still really useful, especially in large ships. I just got to say, though, the real metric, how we know if they're going to be pushing this power creep or not, is if they release a fighter that can only fly in FA off permanently.
That'd be wild. Yeah.
So,
oh my gosh.
It is 3 huge hard points on a small ship, but can only fly FA off.
One thing,
Roy,
and in open.
Yeah. Go ahead.
You put an interesting angle on the power creep, right? Like, because it's like, yeah, you can say it's power creep because the ship now can do everything more, but if you look at it, and the way I think you're looking at it here is it's not power creep, it's a new level, right? With that, like there's a floor, like everybody's complaining about how twitchy it is, and especially in FA off, and like if you, like, a little bit more of an optimistic glass half full side. It's not power creep so much, but it's a new level that you need to go and perfect and get mastery in,
right?
Which is intriguing.
Yeah.
I mean, what tipped me off to this was there's some content creators have said, well, I'm only going to ever put 2 pips into engines, or it's like some people on our Discord saying, well, maybe I won't use fixed weapons with this, right? It's like, well, hang on a minute. Maybe there's a way to do those things and actually unlock some pretty amazing performance. And one thing this game, I think, has struggled with, and maybe the Titan bombing was the first, maybe a little bit towards it, but end game content. And we've talked, obviously, operations is going to be like dungeons. I don't think it's been explained in a way that could rise to the level of a raid, at least not the way they've first explained it. Raids often have mechanics in them that you have to work through with a boss or something, to unlock.
Well, mechanics aside, getting 4 people in the same instance in Elite counts as a raid, I think.
Well, okay, it's semantics. The point is this end game content, right? Is it something is it something, I get it. But is it something that is going to drive people to do the things that they thought were hard, but then unlock new experiences? And I think that's it. Like when I hear you guys talking about FA off, it's like, it feels like that's kind of missing the carrot that would really make you run towards it. You can find little bits of enjoyment from it, or satisfaction of accomplishing something. Unless you're hardcore into combat, though, just to say it makes everything hard. It makes everything hard to do.
It really does.
So is this a march towards trying to introduce things that create a progression, like you mentioned, Kruger, maybe another level, so that there is some differentiation? It's not just race to get credits to buy the ship, and then race to farm mats to do the engineering and unlock the engineers, and now everybody's got the same thing. This actually starts to put a skill floor on something.
Mm-hmm.
So
I absolutely think that's the case.
I guess the other question is that okay? Because now maybe you're starting to leave some people out. Like, who gets left behind? Who gets left behind when you start to create these systems that actually require a lot of practice or investment? And is that okay?
Honestly, I think it's okay, because in every MMO, there's going to be people who are just so far down the casual path that they're just either never going to get there or don't care in the first place, one of the two.
Yeah.
So it's just, you're not going to please everybody. So try and cater to the people, to the great majority, I guess, who can appreciate that thing.
Yeah. And we've got the mechanics that we've keeping all the new generation and the old generation ships in the game. The old generation ships are not obsolete. Yeah, CO is a bit of a bear to try to use in them. But like, especially doing so much combat in large ships, if you're, Mr. Elites an hour a week on the weekend, space dad, cool. You strap a ton of armor and shields on an Anaconda or a Corvette and gimbals. Even if you can't keep up as far as dealing damage, right? You can surround yourself with enough ship and shields and armor that you can deal with problems or get away. So I think as long as that degree of skill, I think maybe it was intentional. The Kestrel's a small ship, right? Like, if they give us the next large combat ship and it has 3 huge hard points and can maneuver like better than a Krite, then you're maybe starting to worry. But I think they can take the spectrum of ships they have and deliver the experience they want for the people that want it. And this ARC's early access system gives them the best metric over how much interest there is or not. They can literally put a dollar figure on it now. It's not just the number of people that purchase it with credits in game where there's no like skin in the game. They just do it out of curiosity. Someone who's willing to shell out money, that's a clear and expression of, this is my interest. So, they've kind of, weirdly enough, built in probably the best metric over interest and direction in game with the ARC's early access system.
Well, I feel like it's a change. And whenever there's a change in a system, there's going to be people that are upset, and there's going to be people that embrace it. So I guess more to come on that, and we'll have to see. maybe a few months from now when people have tried out the
need
Kestrel.
love too.
Yeah.
Well, once people have actually had enough time to build new muscle memory and try out the Kestrel fully, do we start to see a separation in who's winning, combat zones and things like that, and the meta starts to rise. So,
well, tell you what, Piranha Squad's going to look a lot different if it's all Kestrels. It's going to be no fun at all. These ships will be popping left and right.
We'll have to do Piranha Squads when we have like powered CZs or something hard,
Man. Yeah.
One point that comes to mind in this.
Please.
One point that comes to mind is it should be okay, because I think it's in the nature of Elite Dangerous, because this is not an easy game, and pardon the pun, I think we might be a part of an elite group of gamers just playing this.
Get out of here!
See what you did there.
See what I did
Kick
there?
him out! Kick him out! Okay.
No,
Dead
it's
game.
I've seen. I mean, casual players, like, it's a no-go off the bat, and I've seen a lot of friends who are good gamers, and they try this out, and it's just like, oh yeah, no, it looks cool. I couldn't even get off the landing pad, or like I crashed into the side of a spaceship, and like they were done. And then if they even make it a little bit, like, they hit engineering, they hit all these other things. So we are kind of a select group of people playing this game that tend towards this kind of thing, and and of course we all have our levels of how much do you really want to push this, or which parts of the game you get enjoyment mastering, because there's a lot of hard different parts, and I think a lot of this game is that you're getting that enjoyment because it's like, oh man, I banged Thargoids are a great one. And I went through it. It's like I got my ass handed to me by Cyclops, but by the time I killed one, it's like, oh, like I got this figured out. Then I got beat by what's next? Medusa? Whatever's next, Basilisk. And worked on that one, but it's rewarding in that way. Might not be for everybody in the game, and they'll find their other parts. But I think those people, and I'm wondering too, because I'm kind of in the mid part of my journey. I'm trying of FA off. I'm mostly FA off now, unless I'm doing something that's like trading a lot, or I'm going on foot a lot, etc. But I'm trying to do FA off as much, and it's kind of intriguing because I'm enjoying it. I'm getting better. I've got a long ways to go, but now I'm like kind of intrigued. Like, oh yeah, those people, they're only going to be putting 2 pips in. Does that mean if I can get used to it at 4 pips with like full dirty drags, I'm going to be better. I'm going to destroy
easy.
them.
Maybe start with 3. Start with 3. Just see where that goes.
I'm chasing.
So it intrigues me.
Chasing the dragon, guys. Going 3.5 pips.
Well, look, there was nothing casual. There was nothing casual about what went on in the squadron over the last week, and so
hell yes.
maybe if we can continue to harness that kind of energy, either through power play or maybe operations can tap into this too, then maybe it can inspire some people to build their expertise to get even higher rewards.
We're all a bunch of sweats now.
We've become
in a good way. In a good way. All right, let's move on from that. Let's jump into Community Corner. Daxi.
Do we have a Community Corner sound?
No, we do not have a Community Corner sound. That's the other podcast.
Community Corner.
There you go.
Here's where we pretend that we have friends.
Do that again, but nobody talks so we can get a clean take.
Totally.
It's the Community Corner. Here's where we pretend we have friends. All right.
Gold. Gold.
So we have a really cool opportunity coming up. This is next weekend. This is going to be on Saturday, the 28th.
That's this weekend. That's this weekend.
Oh my
this
God.
This
I meant
weekend,
this
dude.
weekend.
You show up next weekend, you're
Came
going
up
to miss
fast.
it.
That'd be funny if I didn't show up this weekend. 20 UTC. We have been invited by the prestigious Lave Radio out of jolly old England on a Family Feud style charity event, pitting the Loose Screws Radio to resolve this 250-year conflict, misunderstanding between nations. We get to settle it all in a Loose Screws quiz Family Feud charity off. So you can tune into that. That is going to be on the via Lave Radio. We're not going to broadcast that live. Lave Radio is going to handle that. But I am so excited to raw dog that. I'm not going to have my phone open. I'm not going to have Google open. I am not going to look up any answers. We're going to go full bore, and we're going to finally prove who is the real dog in town as far as Elite Dangerous podcasting. We're going to settle it on Saturday.
I feel like you
Saturday.
just telegraphed exactly what you were doing.
Shoot.
Well, it wouldn't be Daxy if he didn't tell them he was going to punch him beforehand.
I love a fight. Yeah. So that's going to be a lot of fun. And
do we want to
as well
the shout out for Scotty?
Yeah. So apparently,
go ahead.
Scotty, a member of the in true Elite Dangerous fashion, immediately when something gets released, it gets pushed to some extreme or some direction Frontier did not intend. In a Kestrel has killed a Hydra, taking 0 hits. Now, who would have thought that we would push a small combat ship at the hardest, biggest enemy in the game? No, that's exactly what the Elite Dangerous community does. So shout out to Scotty. Well done. Did he put a video of that up? Is there any substantiating evidence of the action?
I think there was pictures.
He showed a couple of images.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure that was his second run. And the only reason is his second run was he was well into his first run of pulling it off when the system crashed on him. So he had to go and do it again.
Right. That's funny.
Of course. True Elite Fusion.
Testament to that maneuverability, right?
All right.
Even the Thargoids can't hit what they can't see.
Does anyone have anything else before we wrap up?
I am good.
Okay.
Hey, Kruger.
Yep.
Kruger, do you know how you can tell if someone flies FA off? They'll tell you.
They tell you. Yeah, that's a good joke.
Not to brag, but
that's big.
Mostly there. Mostly there.
Yep.
Okay. If you'd like to chat with the crew and join in on the fun, you can find us at loosescrewsed.com. That's our website. You'll find a link there to our Discord, so please join us. We also have a Patreon used for supporting our community. So thank you for hanging out with us, and please join us, as Daxy mentioned, on this Saturday for the Special Effect charity event with Lave Radio. And that's it. Say goodbye, everyone.
Goodbye,
everyone. Bye, everyone.
Let's pretend that we have friends.